Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today's October 26th, and we're doing business and social links to share with your friends.
Pay no attention to the title of last Friday's episode.
Which we
a terrible
forgot.
Oversight.
I was so pleased with that title.
Well, let's start out with some hardware.
There's so much hardware.
Courtesy of the new, more fine-grained sorting. Which makes it so much easier to do business. And it turns out that Apple finally has something delicious for us with this M2. Actually, they've already rolled out the M2, but never with this product.
Apple announces the new iPad Pro with M2 chip and Wi-Fi 6E. Powerful new tablet arrives on October 26th. That's probably like soon. And Apple struggles to truly nail multitasking.
It's literally today.
Oh.
In their perspective.
Yeah.
You can get this right now.
Although there's some Apple Pencil compatibility issues, and that's with the regular iPad. And they're just like, oh, I don't even, why? Yeah, there we go. USB-C to Apple Pencil, USB to, like what is Apple smoking? This doesn't even make sense.
The Apple Pencil, the second one that released, the one that I have, for example, it has a magnet strip, and then you just click it right on the side of your iPad, and that's how it charges. The old version, it was like a USB thing, and you uncapped it and you shoved it in the iPad, and it was just sticking out awkwardly, waiting to be broken. And they've gone back to that now. So like the new iPads are only compatible with the old Apple Pencil.
No one uses their pencil enough to charge it more than once a year, Krista.
Also, like Apple users at this point are basically dongle farmers, right?
Yeah, so there's another dongle for this, so you can actually charge the pencil, which is the most annoying thing imaginable.
There's going to be some guy that runs a museum in the future. He's like, oh, we need that for the collection. It's the last one.
The Hall of Dongles. And Apple was, they wanted to, as usual, they don't want to get all the chips from one place. And they were getting a lot of these chips from Japan. And they said, we should definitely branch out. But they forgot about the economic war.
Apple bows to pressure and drops plan to buy Chinese memory chips.
After the other story we did about Chinese chips being like 40% faulty, would they want them anyway?
They would not have the balls to do that to Apple. How hilarious is that? China would never dream of selling Apple bad chips because that would ruin everything. But Putin, they're like,
screw him. Yeah.
It has been the case, though, in the past that Apple has used substandard components because most people don't do a lot of activity on their.
Wait, that's us.
A lot of activity on their devices. So the flash historically has not had a great endurance, and so that could be a thing for the Chinese chips as well.
This is not an article.
This is a video.
We have a rule about not just throwing YouTube videos up, but it's been violated.
It's fine. Look at that. There, it's kind of an article. There's a thing. The Intel 13900K is out. The 13th gen, actually. 13900K, 13600K, 13700K. They're faster, but they use a lot more power. But they're faster. But Intel back on top.
That's fine, though, because the whole world is just awash in electricity right now.
Power is an unlimited resource that we're not worried about at all.
I mean, when you think about it, something that's as tiny as it is, the fact that it's putting out more heat than several light bulbs in such a small area, that's an impressive feat of engineering.
The 12900K makes a big, if I'm gaming at night, the heat does not need to kick on.
Yeah, we run into that too.
Because I keep all my other doors closed to keep the cats out of the various rooms. So my little bubble there, it's almost good enough during the early fall. You just don't need heating.
So imagine that plus another 50, 60 watts.
Yeah.
It's totally crazy.
And the Pixel Watch has been released, the new Pixel Watch, and they're huge, they're massive, and what do they look like on the inside?
Pixel Watch teardown shows off ugly insides, but gives off strong first-gen vibes. It's all battery.
So you have to remove that battery to do almost anything, including change the screen. They did not give it high scores, even though iFixit is now owned by Google, right?
Oh.
Are they?
They're partnered with them in some manner.
In which case, now everything they do is probably a little suspect.
It felt like they weren't taking it. Well, they said bad things about it in terms of like, hey, it's first gen. You have to remove the battery. It's not great, but it seems like they were pulling their punches. And when the the apocalypse comes, the nuclear holocaust, you're going to want to have some of these, because think about all the little things that you can do to automate your life, assuming you can power them with these super cheap small computers.
Pine64 or Pine64 Ox64 is a Raspberry Pi Pico-sized single-board PC with a RISC-V processor, and it's $6 and up. It's so tiny. It's only got 128 megs of RAM or 64 megs of RAM, depending on which model you get. But you could use it for like a keyboard controller or something, maybe.
You could buy a lot of them. And this sounds pretty interesting, although unfortunately, don't expect this to happen anytime soon because it's not a drop-in replacement. This must be designed from the ground up. What game will do it first?
Microsoft preps DirectStorage 1.1 with GPU decompression for faster game load time. The update's coming soon. But, yeah. Requires a lot of engineering.
So it is a huge savings, they say up to 40%, because it does not ever have to pass those things through the CPU. Just goes straight to the memory, decompresses them.
What game is this?
This is, of
Avocado
course,
Fever.
the avocado
Grand
simulator.
Theft Avocado.
There are a lot of games that would benefit from that these days. GTA. And now that in the the video card world, you can't just build them and immediately have them sold, no matter what quality they are or who your brand is. And it's just it's all pre-ordered. Now you have to actually try to sell these things, and they're going into the gimmicks. I don't think this is the best one.
RTX 4090 has a spirit level to prevent GPU sagging. Did we cover the 4090 launch? Is this our 4090 launch video?
I think we talked about the 40. That wasn't this week, was it?
Was it? I think it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, the 4090's launched.
Yeah. It's real fast.
The time is just, I have no sense of time anymore.
It's real fast, but like the 13900K makes a lot of heat. A lot of heat.
That's big.
Yeah. Won't fit in a lot of cases.
Well, USB-C is it's such a wonderful specification. It's not confusing at all. It just does everything it's supposed to do. You don't have to worry about what kind of cable you got or what kind of port you've got. And this definitely doesn't make that even worse.
USB-C can now hit 120 gigabit with newly published USB 4 version 2.0 spec. You will not be able to buy USB 4 version 2 spec compliant cables for the next 3 years.
And the ones you get in
good.
the gas station, definitely not.
Every USB-C cable is tofu drag in some way.
I try to get all my hardware from the gas station.
Yeah.
That's always the highest quality stuff.
People, I watch those shoplifting gas station videos. A lot of people steal the cables.
Huh,
I guess because it's like you can just ball it up and stick it in your pocket. Everybody needs one, right?
I guess.
That's horrifying. No wonder they're $20 each.
It's shrinkage. And of course, we knew this was coming, but now we know more details about it.
Starlink unveils airplane service. Musk says it's like using internet at home. Yeah, I mean, anything would be better than the awful in-flight internet service, which is just terrible.
I can't remember the price. I think it's like 10 grand. Oh, I'm sorry. It's $150,000.
I thought you were meaning for the customer. I was like, whoa. My brain just...
150 grand, and they will install it for you, or they say that most airline mechanics should be able to figure that out. I would hope so.
Yeah.
So
I'm in charge of keeping this aircraft airborne, but I don't know if I can figure out how to install the Wi-Fi.
and of course, the chip money is overflowing. What are we going to do with it? Well, of course, we're going to build batteries and chips and things like that here in this country.
BMW will build a $1.7 billion EV battery factory in South Carolina. Yeah.
It actually rains there. Probably good.
As opposed to where?
A lot of places, they keep building these chip factories out in like Arizona and stuff. And it's like,
Oh,
they don't have any water. Yeah.
I guess they could use the rainwater. They'd have to purify it.
I'm saying there's just more access to it.
And so this subcategory is economic collapse, because every week we have more and more businesses that are just cutting to the bone.
Google doubles down on Pixel hardware and cuts Google Assistant support. I read this as Google is cutting Pixel hardware stuff, But that's not actually what this article claims.
No, they're not cutting Pixel hardware, but that's one of the few places that they're seeming to put all their eggs in.
Yeah.
Whereas the Google Assistant team, done.
Which, does anyone use Google Assistant?
I don't even know what it does.
Yeah.
Think about all the other Google hardware that's just gone by the wayside. Remember they did that really incredible Chromebook with an amazing screen and an amazing keyboard, and then it just died on the vine?
You got to be worried, right?
Yeah.
If you're working at Google, you never know if your thing is going to be the next thing to die.
The Graveyard website where it's like all these dead projects. It's getting new posts every week.
It's really horrifying.
And oddly enough, another place that you might be working that you really have to worry about your job security, which is wild because they can't seem to hire enough people, is Amazon.
Amazon's attrition costs $8 billion annually, according to leaked documents, and it gets worse. Leaked documents also say that they don't think there's enough people to actually hire. Like they've hired everybody. Most of the U.S. population at this point has worked for Amazon at one point or another.
They talk about regretted attrition versus unregretted attrition, which is a fancy way of saying people we fired and people who walked. So there's two times or four times as much regretted than unregretted? In other words, a lot of people work at Amazon and they say, nah, this ain't for me. Also, they point out that Amazon, the data god, the company that knows what's in my living room somehow, even though I don't use their products, they don't store any of the training stuff about their employees. So if you go through Amazon training to do, like, let's say forklift or whatever, they can't keep track of who's done that or not. They don't evaluate that at all when they're hiring and firing. It's just astonishing.
I don't know if I even believe that.
You just finished your training. Good news. Bad news. You're fired.
You think maybe they're lying about that to keep from, like, getting in trouble for firing targeted people? Or is that a union thing?
I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
I would
Maybe-
think they would have to keep track of that. Like every place I've ever worked that had some sort of warehouse thing behind it always had stats about who had completed the training for forklift or the box masher or whatever.
The box masher. I'm box masher certified.
There's like a machine, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, that's the thing that caught on fire
Yeah.
in that Maryhouse. And they are not the only company that continues to cut.
Microsoft becomes the latest tech firm to cut staff. Laid off over 1,000 people, mainly from marketing and Xbox.
Which is weird because they're really pushing Xbox now. And Stripe step up to the plate.
Stripe is taking steps to prune their workforce, which is weird because, you know, all they do is process credit cards. That's not true.
You don't need a lot of people to do that, do you? Get rid of the sales team. And Uber, in these dark times, is looking to open up into new business opportunities. Where do you think they're going? Well, you guessed it. I mean, they have been collecting data for several years now, haven't they?
Don't worry, Uber will find a way to advertise to you. Uber Eats and Uber, is that some sort of a joke in the thumbnail here? They want you to know.
No, both of them are going to do it. So while you are in your Uber app trying to get rides or trying to get food, you will be watching ads.
Ugh.
Those ads are only going to be misclicks. Like whoever's buying those ads, the traffic you get from those are just people that accidentally touched it.
No, it's about brand recognition. It doesn't matter if they buy anything. You just want you to recognize the brand.
I really need a ride to the hotel. Ooh, shoes are on sale.
And Apple has decided that the HD era has ended.
Apple TV HD. Apple went all in on 4K yesterday. So there is no more Apple HD for TV. It's only Apple TVs that do 4K. Actually, there's only two. One that has wired Ethernet and one that doesn't. And that's it.
Arsenka flirting with a Nintendo lawsuit with this image. What are they
Ooh.
thinking?
See, the next time we go to that article, it's going to be blurred out in that corner.
And mobile gaming. Oh man, I really am not looking forward to when mobile gaming becomes the primary means of gaming. I don't think I can ever adapt to it. So this makes me sad.
Microsoft is building an Xbox mobile gaming store to take on Apple and Google. This came up in Microsoft's Activision Blizzard deal as well.
Apparently the Activision library is going to be a big part of this.
Yeah. So this is Stadia. Remember Stadia? Stadia is a reminder that Stadia is now dead. It's shutting down at the beginning of 2023.
Overwatch is on the Switch too. Like, I mean, it's not necessarily related, but like,
But
can you imagine playing on a Switch?
I think this is going to be for those. Remember the Chromebooks that are just purely.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be that kind of streaming thing.
Imagine if you're in Microsoft and it's, well, we're cutting 1,000 jobs in this economic downturn, but we really think our cloud gaming thing is going to succeed where Google failed.
Yeah, you'd probably be a little angry if you.
And we're gonna buy Blizzard, who's kind of been flushing their reputation down the toilet for the last year.
And every lawmaker around the world is trying to stop that. But don't worry, things are going great at Microsoft. And over at Netflix actually killed it in their last quarterly. People went back to Netflix.
Wow.
I was shocked by that. I would not have believed it. But they are happy again, and I guess that will be more money for this.
Netflix confirms it's looking to launch a cloud gaming service. We're going to fill the vacuum left by Stadia. All those people, we can get all the customers from Stadia tomorrow. It's like, Bob, that's only like 8 people.
Now, you might be saying they already have that, but they have a mobile version of that. This is for the desktop, and they're looking to create their own game studio.
That must be doing well, like the mobile thing, if they're looking to expand it.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody's using it. Last time we heard about it, people didn't know it existed.
I also didn't realize.
There was some leaked info from, I think it was the people that made the Stranger Things game, which was originally a mobile game, and then they ported it to desktop. And the people that actually worked on that, if this is to be believed, said that a vanishingly small number of people even cared.
And yet they're doubling down. That's strange.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Uh,
Find a bad idea and then doggedly.
the Mark Zuckerberg strat.
They cost less than a TV show. I mean, you can repurpose Breakout or a Breakout clone or a Miss Pac-Man clone or something.
Yeah, you just change out the assets. Wow.
Yeah, and it costs less than even one episode of a crappy TV show.
Well, that is not the only thing they're going to be doing to try to get more money from their customers.
Netflix password sharing crackdown will roll out globally in early 2023. And here's how it's going to work.
So basically, how it's going to work is they're going to say, oh, we know what you're doing. Here's your final chance to break out your profile into a sub account, which I think will be a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
And we'll be cool with you after that. But if you don't do that, we're going to shut this down.
Okay.
I think that'll
I'll
hurt.
just not come back.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will make that decision.
Yeah.
Or, you know what? Maybe I'll go spend 3 months with Disney Plus. See how that's like.
I'm spending all the months with my magic hard drive at this point.
It never complains to me about anything except running out of storage. And then you can just add more. And the advertising world is creeping into everything, even our most beloved open source.
Ubuntu's new terminal ad is angering users. I just, who cares? Like, there's a new pro version of Ubuntu, and they've modified, I guess apt, to say, hey, you can go with Ubuntu Pro, which gives you an account to do some things. Okay, if you don't like this that much, don't use Ubuntu.
I often think about this kind of stuff. I mean, well, this one makes a little bit more sense, but Composer gives me Stand with Ukraine every time I run Composer. And I'm wondering, much like the like breast cancer awareness ribbons, who fires up Composer? It's like, oh, I need to update my packages. And then they're like, wait a minute, Ukraine, what's going on there? Like, does that really spread a lot of awareness?
Or do people start to just tune it out because they see it everywhere?
Yeah, it becomes commonplace. I see it on every Twitter profile. I see it everywhere. I don't care anymore. And that's a sad thing. Don't beat us over the head with it. Bitcoin had another difficulty spike, which I don't even remember hearing about. Did you see any, like that one really went under the radar? It shows you how little people care about Bitcoin anymore now that it's fallen from
There's
grace.
so much better doom to scroll through now.
But that did have an impact on the network.
Bitcoin fails to produce one block for over an hour. An 85-minute block interval left more than 13,000 transactions stuck in a pending state on Monday. I'm surprised it took this long. It's shocking, really. A lot of people are also not mining, so.
Yeah, a lot of people are also freezing and starving because of electricity. So it makes sense that there's not a lot of independent miners anymore. And Uber, now all of those, the previous stuff we talked about, the advertising and all that horror, I don't think that's going to help their business. This will be huge.
Uber Eats now delivers cannabis in Canada. So yeah, they're going to make a lot of money. or somehow they'll still lose money because
How can you lose money on potheads who are hungry?
Yeah, you get them again with the Uber
Yeah.
Eats, right? You got to do a combo, right?
yeah, 2 stops. It's like get the pizza last, but they always get the
So
pizza
it's
first.
warm by the
Yeah.
time. Now, here's the crazy thing about it. Uber already delivers alcohol in some locations.
Oh.
And it's up to the driver to determine if you are the person who ordered it. They're going to check your ID, but also if you are too inebriated to take that delivery. But like with weed, it's not like alcohol. It's not like you're stumbling around and, like blacked out. How do you know how much is too much? I would love to look at the guidelines.
Sir, you've ordered 12 pizzas and it's just you. I don't think you're fit to have this.
They open the door and smoke just billows
Pulls
out.
out, the eyes red.
Sorry, sir, you've been overserved. I saw this headline and I felt a little bit like this is more company store stuff,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
like you're never getting out of our ecosystem, so just get comfortable with it. I don't know if it's exactly that, but on the surface, it looks
We're
a little
probably a
suspicious.
little sensitive to that too, considering where we live. But
Maybe.
Google launches a new low-cost online program for high-demand jobs. A tipping point for higher ed is what this calls it. Really, this is this more seems like job training than higher ed, but maybe you don't get enough of that in higher ed because when somebody comes out of college, are they immediately ready to employ? Not usually. They usually need a fair bit of training.
College curriculums are easily 5 years behind the curve, maybe more than that. So it kind of makes sense if you're already in school, which is what this is. Then you go to Google and they're like, we're going to train you exactly how to deal with machine learning the way you need to be hired by Google right now. So
and then Google's cutting jobs. So like, is your relevant experience only for Google or?
you get a certificate, but who knows? Who cares about that?
Amazon
Yeah.
probably also take that certificate in fairness, though. I mean,
Yeah, Mark, I'd say all the big companies would.
Yeah.
And we got some more unionization happening. And this one is in Google's house.
Waymo workers form a union in the latest push to organize Silicon Valley.
Now, you might be thinking like, oh, are the robot people not already happy with their jobs, or there's no drivers here? What? No, it's the food service workers.
I tried to find a succinct article to put together what I think was happening, or to find an article that was more about the unionization, but there's a lot of unionization talk, not just among food service workers. We also saw the Apple Store workers, remember? So if it is economic collapse and, that's sort of trending upward, the lower skill jobs inside these companies, workers at the second store vote to join union. That was this. Well, we talked about it last week too.
This is a new one.
Yeah,
There's
this
a
is
lot
new
of
one.
stories like
It's on the
that.
14th.
So the coming economic collapse, the trend here is that the lower wage, I should say lower skill, the lower wage jobs, they're looking to unionize those first because there's a lot of uncertainty there. And that makes sense because like the Microsoft layoffs and everything else.
Well, their argument was, I am a cook, basically, or, dishwasher, whatever, all the things you need to run a kitchen to feed people. And in order to work for you, I have to live in the city. And my average income, I can't do anything in this city. I can't even eat in this city on this income.
Let alone afford an apartment.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I don't know how you fix that, but I suppose the union will have to try in some manner.
Well, what I was saying is that as the vice tightens and there's more layoffs and everything else, I think we'll see an unprecedented wave of unionization in tech companies because the people working there have had it really good up until now, and now there's going to be cuts and everything else. And so it's like, how do they try to protect that? Maybe unionization.
Although you have to worry that when a company is cutting that hard, would they just say to themselves, you know what, we could just have lunch brought in,
Yeah.
and then we don't need any of you.
Yeah. And the unionization would also protect that to an extent, though.
If
But
they
not-
allow it to happen.
Yeah, but not if you cut it now.
Yeah.
So. And Apple, oh boy, it seems like Apple is just playing chicken with this antitrust stuff. I mean, really, how many more things are you going to add on to your giant ball of antitrust?
Apple looks even more like a bank now that it's adding savings accounts to the Apple Card. They want in the finance market. Apple wants to use everything to take over all these other verticals. We keep saying it, and here it is. It's right there.
So they describe this as being kind of like a money market account where it just overflows and you can still pull from it, but your extra money is in there. You get stuff on it. What kind of rate will they pay? They're not saying.
Yeah. Probably less than Prime, which is sad because Apple could afford Prime at least, right?
In these unprecedented times.
And Trevor Milton, he ran Nikola, if you'll recall, the disgraced company that faked their advertising for electric trucks and didn't really have anything going on in that truck. He has had his day in court.
Nikola founder Trevor Milton found guilty of fraud over statements he made while CEO of the EV company. That was what, like 2 out of 7 counts though, or is guilty of 3 out of 4 counts of fraud on Friday. So okay,
Not been sentenced yet, but it's up to like 24 years or something.
Wow.
Like 25 years. I don't think they'll give him that. What do
probably
you think? Like 3?
2 years with community service.
Yeah, they'll just release him immediately and they'll be like, don't do it again.
Is that a federal case?
Yeah.
So you got to do 85% of whatever the sentence is. There's no getting out early.
That still sucks. Woo.
Especially to go from the lifestyle that he had.
Yeah. To prison. Yeah.
Be a shame if that happened to some other EV charlatans. And here we are in the social media section, and oh boy, there's a lot of meta. And this, of course, we talked about last week. Some third-party people had estimated how much metaverse was actually happening, and they said almost none. Now we have a leak.
Meta documents show main metaverse is losing users and falling short of goals, report says.
I was surprised how many people were using it. Like they want at least 500,000, but I think they said 200,000.
200,000,
Yeah,
yeah.
which is still a lot. More than I expected.
Now, that doesn't mean that those people are actually participating in like the spending crypto stuff
Right.
in there. And that's what the private people said. Yeah, they might be there, but you're not making any money off of them.
Right.
Although they are tracking you, I guess. Are there ads in the metaverse?
I'm sure.
Seeing in business, what kind of... They really want us to see that ad. And the other thing is the whole antitrust stuff is really starting to unravel in the UK, and poor Mark got more bad news.
Meta says it will sell Giphy to comply with the UK breakup order. Okay. Like, have they really even lost anything of value? This seems like about 5 years behind the curve.
But who wants Giphy now that
Yeah, I was going to say, would the hosting costs be so extreme that they'll just get shut down?
Nobody wants it.
How do you feel about that if you're the Giphy people? Like, you got paid a ton of money and you're living large now, but they killed your baby.
Yeah.
Do you really care, though? I mean, you're just kind of a library for gifts that other people made.
I will sell out tomorrow. I'm so ready to sell out. Mark Zuckerberg also had some things to say about iMessage. It seems like a lot of the tech companies are dogpiling on iMessage. That walled garden is not popular.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg takes a shot on iMessage and says WhatsApp is more private and secure.
This is a pretty clever little advertisement that they have here.
Sure, he didn't come up with it.
No, I'm pretty sure his marketing team did. Good job on them.
He probably took credit for it, though. So, yeah, he's just saying that technically WhatsApp is better.
They still haven't implemented end-to-end encryption yet, though, have they?
Neither has iMessage, right?
No.
iMessage is still open to Apple, even in the best case scenario. There was a Meta thing in India, and it is very convoluted. I think I
Yeah.
have a basic understanding of it.
Everything you need to know about Meta's moderation controversy in India. I don't understand this at all.
The takeaway I got was that these people were kind of making it up, but because Meta has done this so much in the past, everyone just believed it.
So The Wire is some sort of publication in India. They said some things about a politician or some things a politician didn't like. Then it was taken down. And they said you took that down because the politician demanded it, which is probably true. I think.
Right.
And then Facebook was like, no, we didn't. We did it because of, it was like nudity or
That's
something
what they
like
said,
that.
but there was no nudity in the video.
And then the Wire came back and they're like, yeah, well, we got these emails that prove that this is what happened. And Facebook was like, no, those emails are fake.
Yeah, because it was from like the wrong subdomain or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who do you believe here? Seems like all bad actors in this situation.
Yeah. The Verge seems to go with The Wire was lying, but
But they were lying about some aspects of it. Were they lying about the politician going to Meta and getting it taken down?
yeah. I don't know.
It's very complicated. I also do not understand what the original argument exactly was. Do you?
No, I read that article a couple times trying to figure it out and was like, I don't.
Indian politics and like, the zeitgeist there is very difficult to pierce from an outsider, I feel.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on I don't understand.
Yeah.
If you're Indian, let us know if you heard about this.
And this is hilarious. And it's a beautiful thing because now that we've entered into this whole, like, you're evil for buying paper plates scenario, I am infuriated day after day that the people telling me that are themselves the worst offenders. And you love to see this.
The world's second richest man sells his jet so people on Twitter won't track him anymore.
This guy, I think he owns Louis Vuitton, which is a fashion house brand.
So what he's done is he sold his jet. And from now on, he says, I will rent because then you don't know what jet I'm in.
Okay.
Who is Anna Sachs and why do we need her trash picking tips?
Because the economy's gotten that bad.
Like, oh, sorry, I hit my thing. What a weird juxtaposition. Man's richest sells his plane, and then it's like, how to pick the best trash.
Should we start the Level 1 scavenging channel?
Some of us never stop scavenging.
We do have some fine tech scavenging videos from years ago.
I like those videos of guys who will go and get scrap metal and then melt it into ingots in their garage.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of work with not a lot of reward.
When you see like furniture on the side of the road, don't tell me you don't like look at it because it's like, what if that's something good there? What if I need to pick that up?
No, I don't like adding more stuff to my house. I'm very minimalist when it comes to
No, I look
furniture.
every time I see like trash on the side of the road, I'm like, there might be something good in there.
I mean, there might be. Sure. You ever... I feel that way about yard sales. Like, is there ever anything good at a yard sale?
Sometimes, yeah. A lot of times, if I just see clothes, I pass it. But sometimes you can get like cool furniture or old lamps or like vases.
You know what we should do? We should make undercover camera YouTube videos where we just drive around and go to yard sales and walk up to whoever's running the yard sale and like, do the thing where you get the 20 in your hand and slip it to them and be like, show me the real stuff.
They're like, oh, come into the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they usually have it out on the actual
They'd
yard.
probably be all like Nazi paraphernalia and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't ready for this. And Elon Musk has now probably finalized that he is going to buy Twitter. I mean, this seems
By the time,
like,
it
No,
comes
see,
out.
I think this is something else.
I saw a headline that maybe some part of the government might stop it because they don't want him to be in charge of it.
That's why he's saying this.
Oh, you think that's... Well, I think he's going to do this either way. I think this is a real thing.
No, I think that he is saying this so that they'll stop him from buying it.
Well, either outcome, it's crazy because now he's created a situation where I don't think they know exactly which way to make him mad. Anything they do at this point seems to be good for him.
Documents detail plans to gut Twitter's workforce. Elon Musk has said he's going to fire 75% of everybody that's there, blah, blah, blah. People are freaking out.
Interesting, it was trending on Twitter
I
at
think-
75%.
I think this is his last-ditch effort to try to avoid buying Twitter. Like, if this results in regulators stepping up and saying, okay, we're not going to let you do that, that would be a win for him. If they still let him buy it and then he does that, it's less of a win for him, but okay.
But no matter what happens, it's also a loss for Twitter.
Yeah.
Because if they don't let him buy it, the valuation is going to absolutely tank.
A lot of the other people have already left, so.
And those people will probably get fired.
Yeah.
But if he does take it over and he guts it, now he has a platform that he can use to, do whatever with.
Will people just leave though? Will he just
don't
tank
know.
its value?
It's such an addiction. That's kind of like, Purdue Pharmaceutical, they were monsters and they're all horrible, but the people didn't stop using oxys because of it, because they were addicted to them. Responsible social media, is that an oxymoron?
Yes.
I don't think it's a thing that we can ever accomplish, and I certainly don't think that these people are the ones put in charge of it.
Responsible Social Media Council looks to bridge the divides on tech. This doesn't seem like a good idea.
This kind of seemed like a lot of words to not actually do anything. They're like, we don't want to be just another think tank. We want to be an action tank, but then they didn't really say what their plans were necessarily.
So Dick Gephardt, Leon Panetta, certainly not names I would put in charge of anything ethical. Denver Riggleman and is Tristan Harris the crazy Google AI guy? Francis Hagen?
Or is it?
Haagen-Dazs?
So, yeah.
Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is that guy.
And that's not a good guy to put there. That's the guy that thinks that it's real. And finally, Mr. Yi back in the news. He's trying to emulate his billionaire peers.
Yes.
And once again, I feel he gets it wrong.
Kanye West, or no, wait, that's not correct. The person formerly known as Kanye West, to acquire uncancelable social media platform Parler. Okay.
I feel like he's going through some sort of mental breakdown, and no one is stopping him from his weird binge.
I think he has been on the record with some mental health issues in the past, right? Diagnosed.
Right. Well, and then he divorced what's her face, Kim, or she divorced him, and he's been kind of like in a spiral ever since.
Well, what do you do after you've reached the pinnacle of finding a mate?
You buy right-wing social media websites, I guess.
It's crazy that he's like leaning into the right wing thing too.
Yeah. Well, he kind of did that. See, he did that briefly too during the 2020 races, right? He said he was gonna run.
Well, even 2016, he was pro-Trump. Yeah, and that was completely unacceptable.
Yeah,
He has said that the number of people, like famous other black people, who called him and were like, "We will not let you do this. We will destroy you." I mean, I don't know if that's true. It could just be the ramblings of an insane person. But
He's I think he's maybe losing it a little bit.
I think maybe it's gone.
Yeah.
Was there anything there to lose? Or was it all an illusion?
He made some good albums back in the day.
But I also don't think that the average Parler user is real supportive of him. Like maybe they are now, just, enemy of my enemy, but what's the crossover Venn diagram of Parler users and people who've purchased a Kanye album?
It's just two circles.
I mean, maybe it's like a couple of pixels there.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
And 37 minutes. Good time
better.
on that one.
See you guys. Bye.